Welcome back, you guys, to Choking Hazard. My name is Zach, and today we're reviewing Cuties on Netflix. Hello, you guys. This is editing Zach from the future. So I've already done my review, and there were some pretty interesting little developments that came into play because of this this movie Cuties. And now they're doing investigations on Netflix and a couple of these other companies, but I just want to go ahead and bring this to you before I go ahead and get to my review because I try to give the movie the benefit of the doubt, and now I can't really do that. So it's like, now I'm kind of like in this weird situation. I'm like, do I scrap the review or do I show you guys the review that has like a little bit of nuance to it, but now it's completely out in the open? So it's kind of like, I'll give you guys the review. There's some developments that came into play that I wasn't expecting, and now it's there. So I give this movie the benefit of the doubt in the beginning, being like, well, you know, they shouldn't have done this, but they did do this right. And now it's like, okay, now I know exactly where they were coming from in the first place. So let's go ahead and get into the review. And there's a lot of publicity on this one. There's a lot of controversy, and rightfully so. There's things in this movie that really shouldn't be on Netflix, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But before we get into my opinions, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the plot, and let me go ahead and give this movie the benefit of the doubt and explain what I like about the movie. So in the beginning of the movie, it is basically about a young Muslim girl that moves to France, so a more westernized country that is also more sexualized. The Muslim culture and her family structure is a lot more subtle when it comes to sexuality. I mean, I guess you can't even say subtle. They're basically full garb, full covered up. You shouldn't, I guess you say, shouldn't be able to show off your skin. They say that being undecent can send you to hell. So they're very anti-expressing your body and showing off yourself in that sort of way. Our main character ends up going to school, I think it's for the first time, a Western school, and she ends up meeting a couple of girls that happen to be very revealing, and they, I guess you could say, have been corrupted by social media and how their culture works. So our culture, I mean, people who are living in Western culture. I mean, for example, I can go ahead on YouTube, and no matter what my age is, I can click and watch a Nicki Minaj video with her fucking tits hanging out and her ass showing, and, you know, YouTube's not gonna fucking, you know, put that restricted at all. Hell no. If you're 10 or 11 years old, you can fucking pull that up no matter what. So I can see the critique on that. I agree with the critique and how they over-sexualize young women. For example, they show Instagram and how girls can kind of express themselves on that, which is very over-sexualized. I like that part. And I also like the part where they showed that, you know, even dance routines in Western countries is very over-sexualized, where it's all booty shorts, it's all twerking, it's all that jazz. We've all seen it before. It's all over Hollywood. It's all over the music industry. It's nothing that we haven't seen before. So she meets these girls, and she ends up joining this kind of dance team. They wanted to go ahead and go on stage and dance and be like Nicki Minaj, be like these Instagram chicks that shake their asses, and be like all these other very scantily clad women. Let's just go ahead and say that. Now, I'd like to explain more about this movie and like what happens in between and things like that. And I was gonna do like just a complete breakdown on this movie. The problem is that other than the themes that they're trying to portray, how like westernized culture is too sexual and it affects younger girls and all that jazz, and how a Muslim culture is different than a Western culture, the shit in between, like the big events in the movie, are like very painful to watch. Not because of the over-sexual nature of anything. There's actually only a couple scenes with that. It's the fact that everything's so fucking boring. They just kind of meander the whole time. So, but other than like the really controversial shit, they just kind of meander through certain things. Other than the beginning part where they showed like the Muslim culture and how our main character is kind of getting used to and figuring out how Western cultures kind of are different. Other than that part in the beginning, everything else is just meandering about and just like her hanging out with her friends and just bullshit stuff that, like, really, to be honest with you, I didn't give a shit about. And most people watching this, even if they were, let's say, a pedophile or something like that, because, you know, let me just say, there's probably some of those trying to watch this movie. They would be bored as fuck watching the other shit in the movie. So it's just, I don't know what to say. I mean, the movie's, in my opinion, I know it's not made for me, it's boring as fuck. But the message is fine. I met the message, the culture, all that shit's fine. It's basically about how this Muslim girl ends up becoming kind of like a skanky-ass whore because of the culture, the Western culture, and how it corrupted her. And that's fine. I'm fine with that theme and that type of that type of message that they're trying to portray. Because at the end, she learns the error of her ways, and she's like, well, I shouldn't be this fucking slutty-ass, 11-year-old. Jesus Christ. Just saying that out loud fucking sucks, you know? So the message in the beginning is fine. Now here's where my problems come into play. The issue is that if you're going to talk about how sexualizing young girls is a bad thing and shouldn't be a thing that you should do, then why are you sexualizing young girls in your movie? Like, now you're probably thinking like, oh, they're just showing like dance routines with the girls or whatever. It's like, it's not just that, not just the fact that they're dressed as like Nicki Minaj sort of ho-ish, like horror-y, you know what I mean? And that's a new word that I just made up, by the way. It's not just that. It's the fact that the way the camera moves and pans on these girls is very suggestive, like bad, like really, really fucking bad. I'm not even joking. And I came into this movie with a completely fucking open mind, and I was like, it's probably not as bad as you think. But as you watch the movie, you're sitting there going like, yo, this is fucking, like, the pedophiles are going to be having a fucking field day with the way they're panning. Because it's not just the way that the girls are dancing. I get that. They could have had like a wide shot, like way out here, and then doing their whole dance routine, and it would already be like too suggestive already. The problem is that they pan on the weirdest fucking angles. Like, okay, so like, I'm just gonna fucking do it. Okay, so let me do it. So because I can't show you guys, I don't want there to be like, because I'm critiquing the director and the writer of this movie that you shouldn't over-sexualize girls, and to give off that message while also sexualizing young women is kind of anti-productive to your message to begin with. It's almost like Antifa, for example, where they'll say like, we are against hate and against violence. So what we're gonna do is we're going to be hateful and violent towards the people that we don't like. It's kind of like you're doing the exact same fucking thing that you're trying to critique, and you're being fucking hypocritical about it. So let me just go ahead and show you using my body, right? So instead of just having these girls like way back here and just fucking, doing your fucking twerk dance and shit like that, they're not just doing that. Or doing like these, they do, I mean, I'll show you some fucking junk. So they'll be doing stuff like, they'll get like, oh, I just hurt myself. Like, they'll get like, oh, I just hurt myself. They'll be doing shit like that. And they'll be doing all sorts of other really, really suggestive stuff, and they'll even do these bend down things. I know you're probably you're like, I don't want to see that. I'm telling you. So they're doing this, right? But it's not just them showing that's already fucking bad. They'll pan right into the fucking girl's asshole and their fucking crotch. Like straight up, like just hovering that camera, like just right into the fucking, the zone. And it's just not, you don't need to do that to get a message across. You know what I mean? It's almost like, it's almost like as if you were making a movie about how police brutality is a bad thing against African Americans or something like that. So you don't, during your fucking movie, right? If you're gonna make that a theme, right? Like that shouldn't be a thing. You shouldn't be doing that to black folks. You don't actually get fucking police officers to whip some dudes up on your fucking stage, you know what I mean? You don't get like actually, okay, now beat their asses like for real, and then just whip their ass, you know what I mean, on camera, and then being like, I thought we were acting here, and it's like, nope, you're not acting, you're getting your ass kicked today. It's anti-productive to the whole point and the whole message of the movie. So I don't know why they would do that unless they either just did this because they were fucking not thinking, or they actually did this to almost like dog whistle to pedophiles. So I don't know, man. It's just I just don't know. They pan on they pan and they linger on things way too much. It's not even like a glimpse or whatever. It's like they linger. And I was watching it with my wife, and my wife is just like, yo, you know. And some of the things that the girls are talking about and what they did. My wife used to she when she was younger and she went to, was it middle school? Yeah, middle school. She went to JFK Middle School in Miami, right? Which is actually a very ghetto middle school. And she was saying that while she was in this really fucking ghetto middle school, she didn't see or hear things that the way these girls were talking in this movie. So it's almost like they made these girls act and have like the maturity, or try to have the maturity level of like a 25-year-old, but I don't know what they're trying to do with that. It doesn't make any sense. And I felt like if they were going to do a movie about how Western culture is over-sexualizing everything, they could have done it without the children involved. And even if they wanted to, let's say if they wanted to base the theme around children, which is what they did in this movie, they didn't have to pan in on crotches and assholes. You know what I mean? They didn't have to go ahead and over-sexualize young girls purposefully, basically being anti-productive to their message. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So, I don't know. That's just my opinion on it. I just don't watch it. Alright, you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see ya. Hey, you made it to the end. That means you must enjoy my content, so go ahead and love tap that subscribe button for me. And if you don't like my content, subscribe anyways. My videos are proven to make your schlong longer. Follow me on Parler if you want additional content updates, or if you want to interact with me personally. And join my BitChute channel for additional content. Thanks, you guys. See ya.